All right. So, hold on a sec. Okay, yeah, we're good. So, what what do you think about this draft here?
All right, let's see. So we got the Cats with Kilthos, Malthael, Anduin, Blaze,
Prepare
Lunara, and
yourself for
then we have.
battle, heroes.
Okay. All right. So I like from the Cats. I like the Kel'Thas pick. It's a good pick on this map. I like Blaze as well. Lunara and Anduin is a pretty cool combo. I think with
The battle
the Anduin
begins
being able
in
to pull the Lunara
10
out if she gets into
seconds.
trouble diving the
For
enemy
sure.
team.
So just for
Five,
interruptions, we have
four,
Kael'thas being played by
three,
Arcanau, Mark
two,
Zombie on the Blaze, the Doctor on the
one.
Lunara,
Let the
Giblets on the
battle
Anduin, and Turd
begin.
Herder on the Malthael on the blue side for Nexus Cats, and on the red side.
We've got Scooterman on Anubarak, Mystic on Leoric, Grevin on Deckard, Scooty Puff Jr. on Raynor, and Monaderp on Toshi.
Opening play here. Blaze gets a little bit low. Is able to get out. No harm, no foul there. A little bit of damage. Yeah, I think what you're saying about the Anduin and the Lunara is interesting. When Lunara can potentially, if she only has one charge of her leap, she can leap in and then when that thought the Blaze goes in a little bit too deep, gets pulled out by the Anduin, and gets rooted by the Deckard anyways. Still able to get out alive. But yeah, the Lunara, say she only has one charge in her leap, can leap in, and then the Anduin can just pull him right back out for some extra safety. Both teams rotating to the bot lane here. Nothing special. Clearing waves. The calculated throw does have two in the mid lane right now. Interestingly enough, Blaze goes in, a stun on the Ubrak, and the Raynor. Raynor gets out. No health nearly. Gets another potion by Deckard to keep him, make sure he's safe.
And it does look like the Cats are going to start their siege camp. We'll see if Calculated Throw does theirs. Blaze is going to get caught out a little bit here. He gets slowed up, and he goes down by the Orphea Chomp.
Yeah, for sure, and that enables Calculated Throw to just take the siege camp pretty much uncontested. There's nothing really that Cats can do here. Turd Herder could have got turned on pretty easily there. The Calculated Throw is just going to focus on taking the camp. Probably the right call there.
Definitely, you see that Lunara is making sure those two sappers don't get any extra damage on their gates.
Yeah. Nexus Cats trying not to miss any XP. Turd Herder runs up to the top lane. Leoric clearing the mid lane for Calculated Throw. And Calculated Throw also beginning their siege camp here. Lunara scouting it out. And Anubarak and Deckard are going to try and zone this out. Nexus Cats might try and force this here. Although with Leoric right there in the mid lane, it does look like they're going to get flashed on. And Nexus Cats get out. Again, Blaze just charging out of there. Valiant effort.
Looks like Orphea gets rooted here. We'll see if she goes down, and it looks like she is. That's a good pick, especially with the altars coming up soon, but it does look like she is going to be up just in time to make it to one of those altars.
Indeed, indeed. And we do have a little bit of a scuffle between Malthael and Leoric up in the top lane, and they just go their separate ways. Turd Herder going to try and soak an extra XP wave before these altars come up. Blaze landing a double stun on the Anubarak and the Raynor here. Unfortunately, seems not really able to capitalize on it. Anduin trying to channel rather than assisting his team here could be a mistake with Blaze getting that low.
This realm will be
mine. And it does look like they trade altars in the top lane there. Just 1-for-1. Malthael and Leoric having a little 1v1 while their teams fight a 3v3 in the bottom half of the map there. Malthael going in really deep here. Blaze trying to get him out. Both get rooted, unfortunately. Anduin pulling the Malthael and leaving the Blaze to die. Gets cleaned up by the Leoric there. And Deckard does begin this channel. It looks like he's just going to get that because of the Raven Lord will not keep me from this realm.
I really think this was an interesting play by both teams, really. Deciding to split the top two altars and contest over the bottom one. Alternatively, we could have seen either Cats or Calculated Throw take both of the top, attempt to take both of them. What do you think about that?
I think that that's something they could have done, but if they needed, like, if they wanted to do that, it's something they would have had to have started earlier. We saw when the altars came up, they were pretty much still in that 4-1 split, as opposed to if the bottom half of the map had rotated up, they would have been able to do something like that.
For sure,
Nubarak going in
definitely.
this left side siege camp here, trying to get the invade on Nexus Cats. The Doctor getting rooted by the Deckard, barely able to get out with the heal from Anduin. And Nubarak still isolated on this siege camp here. Raynor just throwing this damage onto the Kael'thas, as well as the Blaze getting cleaned up by the Orphea. That is a double kill for the side of Calculated Throw and a siege camp.
That's the second siege camp they've stolen from the Cats here.
Absolutely. And yeah, that does put them at a nice level advantage here. They have the advantage on 10s if Nexus Cats don't manage to pick up some XP somewhere here.
The altars rise.
And Malthael rotating to the bottom half of the map, seeing that the altars are going to be, you know, the double bot altars, deciding to forego some XP in the top end mid lane. I'm not sure that that's the play that you want to make, being that you're already down in XP, but it is.
And Leoric is also double soaking, still running over to catch that mid wave XP and coming over to help with the altars.
The altars in my
Leoric channeling on that top altar, just completely uncontested. He's going to get that one for free, and the Nexus Cat's opting to play over the bot lane. Blaze already getting low. He's able to get out. Oh, it seems. Kael'thas trying to interrupt the towers, could go down for that. Lunara and Kael'thas both being forced way out of position here. Nubarak ends up going down. In return, they do trade out to Lunara. Raynor able to just walk away. Leoric channeling is able to get interrupted by the Kael'thas. Herd Herder going a little bit deep, gets pulled out by the Anduin. Deckard looking really low here. Is able to barely walk away with his potions. Herd Herder and Kael'thas both getting picked up by the Orphea, just chunking on backline while they're focused on interrupting the channel.
Yes, heroes.
That was really good damage coming out from both mages, and it looks like Orphea is going a little bit too far, taking a bit of tower shots, but both great damage by that Kael'thas and that Orphea there in that fight. They really traded a lot of damage, and it looks like Hyperion's going to be popped in order to secure this bottom fort.
For sure. And now that Calculated Throw has picked up 10s, we can see that Nubarak has gone for the Cocoon, Leoric going for the Entomb, Deckard going for the Stay While and Listen, Raynor of course taking that Hyperion, and Orphea with the Crushing
Red
Blows.
team has destroyed a fort.
Any thoughts on these heroics?
Pretty standard. The Entomb from Leoric is going to be really pivotal. Also the Nubarak just taking someone out of the fight with his Cocoon. And we'll have some interesting plays with the Stay a While and Listen and the Crushing Jaws. I think that'll enable Orphea to really set up her ult.
For sure.
We are seeing ults from the Cats now.
Nexus Cats do take his bot tower back. Blaze dropping the bunker, unfortunately popped out right into the Deckard root. Kael'thas and Blaze both in the middle of that Stay While in the bunker there. Bunker does prove to be pivotal. Manages to save a couple members of the Cats. Could have been a nice combo.
Rise again.
Otherwise, between a few of the ults there, but overall, that was a pretty good trade there. They got 3 ults for 2, or 4 ults for 2, it would seem. Nexus Cats anyway taking the Leaping Strike on the Lunara. Bunker, of course, by the Blaze that we just saw there. Light Bomb on the Anduin. Last Rites on the Malthael and Phoenix from the Kael'thas. And the altars go up. I believe the correct play here for Calculated Throw is just to take a 1-for-1 trade. They're already ahead, no need to force it.
To the altars.
We'll see what they
Definitely, they're a good, solid chunk of health ahead. It looks like Cats are going to try and take a step forward.
The Entomb does come out with the Hyperion combo. Nubarak gets low, gets the last rights, but is healed up by Deckard. And they do, a Calculated Throw does secure a kill onto the Blaze. That was a pretty big Entomb. I didn't manage to see who was caught in it, but I did see the Blaze was in the Entomb, and that did result in his death, unfortunately. And Calculated Throw rotating down to take this bot side, or take the Nexus Cat siege camp here. And I think they're going to try and siege this bottom fort here, try to take it back. And we do see Leoric beginning the topside siege camp as well. And Malthael seems he's coming up. We'll see if he manages to catch that he's doing that. Doesn't look like he will. The top siege camp does go over to calculated throw.
Calculated throw does have 13s here, but it doesn't look like they're gonna try and get a fight
It is
in
nearly time.
before the cats get 13s.
And it looks like it is going to be just one altar here. Mark Zombie getting in on the Orphea there. Does drop the bunker with the Entomb coming out from the Leoric. Stay a while out from the Deckard. Does catch out the Blaze. Lunara does get cocooned in the back line, taking out a massive portion of the Nexus Cat's damage. Blaze goes in again onto the Leoric, trying to get
Take
something
the
there.
altars
Lunara
and put
leaps
an
over,
end to the
and is
Gravekeeper.
nothing ends up coming out of that fight other than a few blown ults from both sides. The light bomb goes off on the Blaze. Unfortunately, he just walks out. I don't know if he knows some miscommunication or what there. Hyperion does come down to this fight, and Raynor getting extremely low has to go tap in the back line here. Rack does get called up stun. Malthael does go down to the Raynor, and Orphea picking up a double on the Kael'thas and the Blaze here. Gets another one onto the Lunara. That's pretty clean from them. And it does look like Calculated Throw are going to wait to take this fort before they grab the beacon, or the altar rather. Smart play, gets an extra point on the fort.
Red team has destroyed a fort.
I'm seeing some really solid damage from both teams here. The Orphea taking her level 7 talent of Insatiable, resetting the cooldown of Chomp to 1.5 seconds after hitting a hero. That's really coming in handy, getting a lot of damage, especially as you saw with that Lunara kill at the end there. Really crazy damage from both sides, though. The healing is quite impressive as well with Deckard on Calculated Throw and Anduin on the cats.
For sure, and Calculated Throw does pick up their siege camp here, and they are looking to keep this bot tower and try to pressure their sappers in. I think one thing to point out with the healing is that Deckard did take Ruby, and it's proven to be extremely valuable with his with the Anubrak and the Orphea. When they go in, he pops the Ruby.
Heroes, I have opened a tunnel near our core.
We do see Anubrak engage onto the Blaze here. Deckard hits a stay while onto the Lunara and the Blaze. Anduin pulls the Blaze out.
I mean,
And
do that. I've opened
sorry,
my
Blaze
tunnel
drops
as
the
well.
bunker. Crushing Jaws whiffs because the bunker is very clutch there. And all three sappers do get in for some points onto the core there. And they do. The Calculated Throw does begin Nexus Cat's siege camp here.
The altars are rising, heroes. Do get ready.
And with Calculated Throw taking the siege camp, I'm curious to see if they'll just use it for pressure, or if they'll try to push it in for the points with the altars coming up here. Blaze attempts to go in, gets a little bit blocked by the Uberak. Lunara getting cocooned in the back there. No one's focusing on getting her out, so they're able to just pick up a double with virtually no damage in return. Orphea picking up the Kael'thas and the Blaze there, getting 3 points on the core. And if
Be
they can
swift,
secure
heroes.
all three of
Do
these
not
somehow,
let
they'll be able to win the game.
Gravekeeper's
But
cronies reach the altars before you.
we are barely stopping the Malthael there. Deckard getting a free channel on the bot altar, and Orphea taking a free channel on the top
Let the
right.
assault begin.
Calculated Throw going into the Nexus Cat's
Yes,
altar here,
heroes,
trying to end the game.
activate the towers.
And they are doing a pretty decent job at just zoning them off of this here. Third Herder gets caught out by the Uberak. The Blast Rites goes on to the Leoric, barely manages to live there somehow. Lunara leaping in a little bit deep there, gets the Leoric, barely. He does get traded in return, the Raynor picking up that kill. Mars now going down to the Orphea. With another kill onto the Anduin there. Blaze, last man alive, trying desperately to prevent this Calculated Throw from taking this altar here. Raynor does begin the channel, and it looks like Nexus Cats are just going to give it up. And that would be game one going over to Calculated Throw.
Destroy the Raven Lord.
And 1 second, folks. It seems that my co-caster here is having a bit of lag. So, just give us a second and we will be returned.
Hello?
Hey,
Yeah, it's just I don't know, every once in a while I can't the stream or the replay just lags behind.
alright.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. True.
So, do you want me to wrap this up on myself, or do you want to?
I'll see what I can do with this next game.
Alright,
It was only happening once every minute or so.
alright. Alright, so game 2 here, we're going to Dragonshire. So we see Zeratul on the Nexus Cats here. It should be interesting. Not a very typical pick for this level. But I'm very curious to see what they can do with that. And Stitches on the calculated throw side is quite an unorthodox pick as well.
Heroes.
So for Nexus
prepare
Cats,
for
we do have
combat.
Arthur on the Zeratul, Turd Herder on the Rexar, the Doctor on the Tassadar, and Mark Zombie on the ETC with McGiblets pulling up the Stukov. And on the red side.
On the red side, we have Mystic on Dehaka, Scooterman on Stitches, Grevent on Deckard, Mona
Battle
Derp on
commencing
Orphea,
in
and Scooty Puff
10
Jr.
seconds.
on Tychus. What do you think the Stitches is
5,
trying to hit here,
4,
Frank?
3.
Yeah, I think
2,
really his only option is
1.
the Tassadar, depending on the
Fight
or
well,
heroic rather
heroes.
that Stukov goes for on level 10. The Tassadar is really his only pick. Zeratul will just walk away, or blink away, I should say. Tassadar does get the early hook here. Mark Zombie going in with the EPC, and they
Blue
will
team
turn that onto the
draws
Tychus
first
there.
blood.
That was pretty clean by Nexus Cats, despite it seeming like a bad situation at first.
Really quick death for that Tychus there. That's unfortunate for the for calculated throw.
For sure, and Arthur now sticking to the mid lane with the Zeratul and the 3-man of ETC, the Doctor on Tassadar and Stukov on Giblets on Stukov rather, going to the bot lane here. Mark Zombie getting hooked and a close range hook by the Stitches, and nothing coming from it. Yeah, both sides just gonna kind of walk away. A few blown cooldowns, but nothing major.
You think
And
yourself
Siege Camps does
worthy
come up
to
here,
wield
neither
the Dragon
team's
Knight's
getting
power?
quite yet.
Prove it.
ETC rotating
Take
up towards the
control of
mid
the
lane, sitting in that
shrines.
tri-bush, and then just walking away, deciding not to go for it, I suppose. We do see Stukov begin this Nexus Cat siege camp here. And ETC does go over to make sure they're not doing theirs on the side of calculated throw.
Looks
Capture
like
the shrines.
the Cats are going to
Inherit the
position their
Dragon Knight's
Zeratul
power
in the mid
and lay
lane,
waste
soaking
to this
XP.
forsaken kingdom.
Meanwhile, calculated throw is doing more of a 4-man rotation strategy here.
For sure, and there is the advantage that we're seeing right now where Zeratul is able to rotate up to the top lane very easily and quickly without, necessarily them realizing inside of calculated throw. Dahaka having to give up this top shrine here. And that, to be fair, that is to be expected. Dahaka really, there's no one that's particularly a good matchup into Rexar on this map. Rexar having such a dominant hold over that top shrine is for sure a good reason to pick him here. Zitch is getting out positioned, but just so much healing coming out from the Deckard that it doesn't even matter. ETC is starting to get pretty low through the due to the Tychus' trait there. does get pulled in, getting body blocked by the Stitches, and he does barely get out, it looks like. Not sure that that hook was exactly what they wanted with the Stitches. It actually pulled ETC closer to the side that he wanted to be on. And Calculated Throw still not taking their camp. Zeratul and Dahaka, or ETC rather, going in on this Dahaka in the mid lane. Dahaka barely well, not barely, he just walks away. And then the 4-man does rotate up to this mid lane, grabs out the
Hero
ETC,
slain.
and he does go down for that attempted kill there onto the Dahaka. Unfortunate.
That's
Boost-
one thing you got to be careful about. ETC is a really squishy tank. Stitches, on the other hand, has a lot of health and a lot of sustain. If you get caught out with ETC, there's not much you can do, as you saw there.
Absolutely. And it does look like Calculated Throw are beginning their siege camp now. A little bit late, but, you know, so it happens. Zeratul rotating up again just to secure this top shrine here, make sure that Dahaka doesn't do anything suspect here. Dahaka being forced to use that burrow, I forget what it's actually called. That's a pretty long, I think it's like a 20-second cooldown that he doesn't have now. If Rexar were to want to go in on him, but I think Rexar's just going to passively hold this shrine, doesn't need to take a big fight here. And Zeratul does show up in this bot lane. Potentially, Nexus Cats could be looking for a fight here, trying to secure this shrine and then get a dragon knight. Orvia does catch out the Zeratul, you know, a little spat, nothing significant happens there. Stitch is missing the hook onto the ETC. You can see, you know, looking about half health. Zeratul does go in onto this Tychus in the backline here. Tychus having to walk away to tap the well. Dahaka burrowing in, immediately tonguing the ETC there. And Stitch is pulling the ETC in. ETC is going to use his W, I forget what it's called, to bump the enemy team away, and he is able to get out. And Dahaka, unfortunately, now has to walk all the way back up to the top side. The Rexar is just going to be able to, you know, force minions into the tower and deny that XP. Dahaka's still sitting in the mid lane despite that full wave crashing into tower right now on the top side there.
Rexar really is laying down the law in this top lane. He is not letting up on that shrine, and he is just laying siege to these turrets right here.
Absolutely, we do
Will
see
not
play
give
going
him
down
an
in the bot
inch.
lane. ETC getting rooted out by the Deckard there, and a triple silence coming out from the Scootop. Zeratul getting a little bit low, going in on the dishes there. Might have been the wrong target, but that's alright. You can see power slides onto the Orphea. Orphea gets low. Deckard gets the root, manages to get the Orphea out of there. And she, yeah, barely survives. ETC going to pick up some mid lane soak, I believe. We do see the siege camp coming back up for the side of Nexus Cats. We'll see if they decide to go for that here. ETC and Zeratul swapping back to their respective lanes. Orphea is taking some free damage from the Zeratul, not really able to combat that. He's able to just blink in, deal some damage, blink out. And Zeratul does come down, go in on the Stitches yet again. Not able to get anything out of it. Stitch is looking at half health here. And, you know, and there's a little bit of a lull here. We can talk about the Tychus. Interesting pick being that there's no one particularly tanking on the side of this cat. And lull disappears
Hero
with the
slain.
mosh pit coming out from Mark Zombie there. And the Orphea does go down. 10s now for both sides here. We're seeing the massive shove onto the Dahaka all the way back to their keep. And it looks like Zeratul is going to go and pick up this Dragon Knight. Due to that man advantage, they were able to take
The
that
fire
shrine.
comes for you.
And here is the first Dragon Knight going over to the side of Nexus Cats. And Rexar still just sieging up in his top lane, already about to get this front wall for Nexus Cats here. That's pretty big. And in the bot side here, we do have the Dragon Knight coming down to this bot keep. And they do take the first tower there, kicking away the Tychus. And the Dragon Knight focusing as well here, pretty big, because now if they want to fight at the bottom half of the map, Nexus Cats does have that advantage of having their healing fountain there, as opposed to Calculated Throw not.
That beast is not my beloved. Not
And we
anymore.
do see the Odin coming down from Tychus. Interesting pick, just trying to kill the ETC, I believe. Might have been a little bit overkill, but
Hero
ETC
slain.
does go down, so, you know, I suppose it is worth it in the end. And in terms of ultimates, we do see Archon coming out from the Tassadar, Mosh Pit from the ETC, massive shove from the Stukov, Bestial Wrath from the Rexar, I'm sorry, and Void Prison from the Zeratul. And it appears my caster is disconnected. I'm sorry about that, folks. Dahaka taking the isolation here, Gorge from the Stitches, and we have a fight here. Zeratul does get land a Void Prison on the Orphea, and
Hero
Stitches
slain.
manages to get the kill onto the Orphea and get away rather low. Pretty impressive. Both sides taking their respective siege camps. And in the top lane, we do have Rexar bullying out this Dahaka. Note that the front wall has been taken here in favor of Nexus Cats. Nexus Cats also beginning their Bruiser camp here, try to add some additional pressure to this top lane, which is already going pretty well for them. To return to the ultimates, Gorge on the Stitches, Stay Well and Listen from the Deckard, Orphea taking the Crushing Jaws, and Tychus taking the Odin. But yeah, Odin, or Tychus rather in general, getting caught out by the power slide here, and the bump coming out from ETC, Archon being popped by the Tassadar, trying to get this Tychus. Unfortunately,
My beloved is
Zeratul
gone,
does miss
but
his,
his power remains.
Vorpal Blade, I think
Control
it's
the
called,
shrines
onto the wall there.
and make use of it.
And yeah, that is unfortunate, popping the Archon for nothing there, but happens to the best of us. Lots of siege coming onto this top fort here. We can see Rexar just laying down, you know, hell onto this top fort. It's already halfway over, or halfway in terms of health.
Take
And
hold of the
Dahaka
shrine.
not really able to do much about
the Dragon
this
Knight's
Rexar.
power.
This Bruiser camp may very well take this fort.
Blue team
and it
has
does.
destroyed a fort.
Rexar is able to take this top shrine for pretty much free, as well as the top fort. This bot shrine here going to Nexus Cats, it seems, at first. Gets ETC getting gorged by the Stitches there. Dahaka burrowing down, gets pushed all the way back to their first peak again. And ETC able to get out, gets pulled back in
Hero
by the
slain.
Stitches, and does go down to the fort here. And then we do see the Void Prison come out for Nexus Cats, catches a couple of them. Unfortunately, no one dies there. Zeratul trying to blink out, unfortunately misses his blink over the wall there. Deckard landing the sleep, and they are able to pick up 2 kills there. Third coming down,
Hero
Stukov
slain.
getting pulled in by these Stitches. Tychus getting pushed back into the Nexus Cat's front wall, and unfortunately is able to get away. Rexar comes down, gets some of the mid-wave, and decides to go back up to top, try to generate some more pressure and make sure that we can secure that that shrine to prevent the Dragon Knight being picked up on the side of Calculated Throw. We do have the bottom Bruiser camp being picked up on the side of Calculated Throw here. It's a good plan. Could have maybe pushed forward a little bit with that man advantage, but you know, it does generate some XP for them. It's not a terrible play there. Dahaka being forced to respond to this sieging wave up here in the top lane. Odin being popped by the Tychus. Looks like they're just going to use it to push. Tassadar getting hooked out by the Stitches. That was like a max range hook there. Tassadar does pop the Archon. Zeratul going to town on this back line here. Tassadar getting gorged. I think they're just trying to take him out of the fight with that Archon. And Stukov getting low here. He's able to barely get away. The Deckard landing the root into the stay while. It's pretty well played by him there. Zeratul does go down. Looks like Misha goes down as well. And that is a 1 fight on the side of Calculated Throw. And it looks like they will now invade the Nexus Cat siege camp here with their man advantage, being as Zeratul is down here still. You can see getting a little bit caught here. Unfortunately, he's able to dodge the hook. Stukov
Hero
does
slain.
eat the hook in return, though, and he does go down for that. Camp being taken by Calculated Throw here is able to get a little bit of work onto this bot keep. Unfortunately, their Dahaka has been staying with the 4-man, so they haven't been able to take the Dragon Knight yet. So, you know, Rexar's just been able to soak up XP, and despite these kills racking up for Calculated Throw, Rexar's just kept them in the game in terms of the XP. Dahaka coming up to try to take this shrine here. Turd Herder leaving in favor of contesting mid lane rather than trying to contest the top shrine. I think he's just trying to maintain that XP. There's Zeratul dropping the Void Prison into the Tychus and the Stitches there. Tassadar trying to get this Tychus. Zeratul going down. Tassadar completing his quest here. Looks like his level 1 quest. Tassadar is getting rather low here. The Crushing Jaw is coming down onto the ETC though, rather than the Tassadar. ETC getting taken out by the Orphea. And yeah, Rexar just contesting this mid lane, not allowing this Dahaka to get this Dragon Knight. And there's nothing they can really do about that unless they manage to rotate up the 4-man, but in order to do that, you need to take out some of the members of Nexus Cats. So that way they don't, in return, take the spot shrine. Calculated Throw here, taking this bot for it, popping the Odin again just for the siege. The siege power that Odin does provide is pretty enormous. And Stuka just trying to contest this mid Dragon Knight here. Is getting hooked by the Stitches and
Hero
stunned
slain.
there, and he does go down. Looks like the Heraldric Staff was the stun there. Pretty powerful 16 talent there for the Deckard. Zeratul going to go and take this bot shrine to just ensure that Calculated Throw aren't able to do any funny business and manage to get the Dragon Knight here. ETC taking a ton of damage from this Tychus here. Tychus does go a little bit deep there, take a tower shot, is able to walk away. Stitch is going to try to hook out the Zeratul, barely manages to miss there. And they do take back this bottom shrine here. Rexar again just keeping this top lane secure. There's nothing to be done about that on the side of Calculated Throw. Zeratul does begin this Nexus Cats Bruiser camp here. Stitch is pulling one of the Bruiser minions over the wall. And this will be Rexar and ETC trying to zone out Calculated Throw while Nexus Cats finish out this Bruiser camp. They do manage to finish Bruiser camp. ETC dropping the Mosh Pit, gets interrupted by the Orphea, Crushing Jaws, and the Deckard. Stay while and listen. Tychus does go down to the Rexar. In return, they get the Misha, and Zeratul does pick up another kill, or Tassadar rather picks up the kill onto the Deckard. And that is a one fight for Nexus Cats, trading a bear for 2 members of the enemy team. Turd Herder and Arthur now both go up to ensure that Dahaka isn't able to take this top shrine from him. And it looks like ETC is going to try and come around here to confirm a kill somewhere. Ends up nothing happening with that. Tassadar clearing this bot wave. It looks like he's going to try and come back up here for the mid fight that's happening right now. Stitch is getting zoned out. Gets caught out, unfortunately, by the Rexar, and you can see lots of stuns there. And the damage does come through, and Stitches does go down. Looks like they will take the Calculated Throw siege camp for that. And the front wall of the mid fort being taken from Calculated Throw here. Nexus Cat's taking that. Interestingly, their siege camp being left up here. Rexar does begin the channel just as Dahaka steps onto the shrine, so he is able to barely break the channel. The siege camp barely manages to get that fort there, very close. Unfortunately, Calculated Throw may not have realized at the time. Bruiser camp does get taken by Nexus Cats here. And Nexus Cats gathering the 4-man, going to the mid lane. It looks like they will drop the Void Prison onto the Orphea here. And ETC getting that power supply off, and the Void Prison very well played there. Deckard's Root, unfortunately, not enough to save the Orphea. Archon coming out from Tassadar, and with that level 20 Twilight Archon, he can pop that whenever he wants and maintain that theoretically indefinitely throughout the game. So that's definitely pretty strong there. In terms of level 20 talents, we do see the Hungry Stitches coming out. for the side of calculated throw. So in theory, he could get a 5-man gorge here, which should be pretty fun if something like that does come through. We do see Stukov stepping in the Dragon Knight. I don't think that's necessarily who you want in the Dragon Knight, but I think they just wanted to get someone in it so they can get interrupted again. Dragon Knight is focusing on the top keep here. Absolutely the right play. You want to take this keep so that way you have a win condition later in the game. Stukov, or Stitches rather, getting caught out by the bear and is able to just barely get out. Decker whiffs the sleep. No one caught in that. And in the meantime, in the mid lane, we do have Tassadar doing some work, trying to get this mid fort.
Blue team has destroyed
Does manage to
a
pick
fort.
that up, and Stukov just going to town on this front wall now in the Dragon Knight here.
The power is yours no longer.
Bear does unfortunately get rooted. Nothing comes from that. The Hawk up here in the top lane trying to keep the XP relatively even. Despite there not being talents after 20, XP still does matter. Levels give stats, you know, the like, so it still is important. Siege Camp does come out here for Nexus Cats. And Bruiser's coming out here on the side of calculated throw. So yes, in terms of 20 talents, Twilight Archon, relatively powerful talent. I haven't played New Tassadar, so I can't really comment too much on that. Bolt of the Storm, obviously the correct pick on ETC. Spirit Bond for Rexar, just upgrading that ultimate. And ETC getting another power slide into the Void Prison. Decker does try to root that, but unfortunately misses. Hungry Stitches going out, eats the ETC, the Tassadar, and the Stukov. The sleep from the Decker getting ended a little bit early because he was afraid of this Seratool here. And they do trade a couple ultimates for a couple ultimates, neither side really getting the kill here. And we do see Respect the Elderly come out from Stukov, very powerful talent. If anyone gets caught into his sleep, I'm sorry, Decker, not Stukov. If anyone gets caught in his sleep, he does silence them and blind them, so they're virtually useless for an additional 3 seconds after the sleep ends. And we do see Nexus Cats taking their Bruiser camp.
Power
In
gathers
response
within
to
the
Calculated Throw taking
shrines.
their siege camp in the
Seize
bot lane
them
here.
and become the new Dragon
The shrines
Knight.
are coming up.
My husband is dead.
Throw
Remind
does
this
come down to take
kingdom
the
of
top shrine
his
here.
strength.
And Nexus Cat sending the Rexar up to take the top shrine. This Bruiser camp is pushing, so Dahaka doesn't want to necessarily step up to this top shrine without the safety of the minions. Zeratul does dodge the hook there. That is a whiff hook, and that could result in dead Stitches here with all the stuns coming out. ETC does drop the Mosh, unfortunately gets interrupted by the sleep and the Crescent Ball yet again. Zeratul dropping the Void Prison. Stitches does eat up the Zeratul, and nothing comes out of that. Zeratul is able to pop out there with the blinks. The Haka taking a ton of damage here, and
Hero slain.
Titus looks like he's going to be the first to go down. The Haka
Hero
looking really
slain.
low himself.
Hero
Stitch is going
slain.
down. The Haka finally taking the fall. And that looks like a one fight for Nexus Cats, and potentially a one game if they pick up this Dragon Knight here. With no keep down here, that's an obvious win condition for them.
The flame
Rexar getting the Dragon Knight
cleanses
here, and that
all.
could very well be a game. Looks like he's going to run through the mid lane
Red
through
team's
this
core
gap in
is
the wall
under
here.
attack.
And yeah, Nexus Cats are just going to lay siege to this fort here. And there's not much to be done on the side of Calculated Throw. That's going to be Game 2 with Dragonshire going over to Nexus Cats.
yourselves for
Alright, so
battle,
game 3, we are
heroes.
going to Infernal Shrines, being picked by Calculated Throw here. On the side of Nexus Cats, we have Arthur now on the Zeratul, Deckard on being played by McGiblets, the Doctor on the Tassadar, Mark Zombie on the Diablo, and Turd Herder on the Sonya. On the side of Calculated Throw, we have Grevenant on the Malfurion, sorry. Scooterman on the Blaze.
The battle begins in
Cutie Puff Jr.
10 seconds.
on Kel'Thas, Mona Derp on Raynor, and Mystic on
5,
Zool.
4,
Sorry about these names,
3,
folks. I'm a little bit
2,
thirsty.
1.
Don't have my water with me.
Let the battle begin.
And it does look like we have Sonya, Turd Herder going, and Zool going up to the top lane here. Zool actually looking to come down into the mid lane, potentially help put a fight out here. Turd Herder opting to, rather than help the 4-man in the mid lane here, just try and get that early advantage on the XP by being able to soak the wave sooner and potentially push it in. Zool helping his team score here in the mid lane, of course. And in terms of picks, I think that Nexus Cats probably have a better team here if they're able to execute their combos, whereas if the side of Calculated Throw are able to execute their lockdown correctly, they could keep someone stunned for quite a while. I do think that Malfurion is an interesting pick, not necessarily a good one. In my opinion, he's rather weak right now. A lot of the utility he brings is not enough to make up for the healing. That's just, you know, Gold's opinion. But and yeah, both teams doing a pretty traditional 4-1 split here. Zeratul staying up in the mid lane. Could be like something we saw on Dragonshire, where he just stays in the mid lane and roams up between top and bottom, just helping out whoever he can whenever he needs to. Calculated Throw going to start their siege camp, gets interrupted by the Diablo, and then opt to not take it. Interesting decision there, not sure it was the right one. Zeratul coming down to help out this bot lane, and it does look like Tassadar and Deckard are going to take this bot siege camp here. It's a pretty ballsy play. It seems to be working out for them though. Calculated Throw taking their siege camp here. Diablo does try to interrupt their siege camp again. Not able to get anything there. Is able to just walk away. And level 4 being picked up on the side of Nexus Cats a little bit earlier than Calculated Throw. If they were to take a fight there, it would have been an advantage, but they opt to rather just take their siege camp instead, trying to extend their XP lead rather than necessarily taking a team fight they don't need to. Calculated Throw looking to go on the invade here. Nexus Cats just walking away and letting it go for now, not having enough people there to contest. Diablo does go in, trying to score this camp here, does get rooted and locked down, and manages to walk away, looks like. Just barely. Sonya just spinning on the back line. Zeratul does go down, and the camp goes over to Calculated Throw. Some of the members walking away, clinging to life, but nonetheless, they walk away with a kill advantage and taking their siege camp. So well played by the Calculated Throw there. The siege camp is doing work on this middle tower here. And first shrine is going to be up in the top lane. It'll be interesting to see if either team goes for 7 here, if they just opt to fight on living talent here. Nexus Cats do have the XP advantage, so if anything were to go for 7 here, I would expect it to be them. And it looks like Calculated Throw will just begin this shrine pretty early here, while Nexus Cats aren't there. Diablo attempting to check the bush, checks the wrong one, unfortunately. Zeratul going into the backline. Diablo diving in with Malfurion, able to body block into the Raynor, into the Deckard. Very well executed there by Nexus Cats, and that dead Malfurion. And now without a healer, Calculated Throw pretty much has to step out. Zool we do see on the bot lane getting an XP advantage, and he's trying to push that into tower potentially. Kel'Thas getting pretty low here in the top lane. Ends up walking away pretty fine though. Zool pushing this wave into tower and then just walking away. Does get that front gate. Zeratul coming down to clean this up and try to take that XP. Zool going into the mid lane, and the top lane we do see Blaze getting caught by the Diablo. He's able to walk away. And Nexus Cats carrying a really lead on this shrine here, just letting the Sonya go to work. The Tassadar wall does allow Diablo to pin the Blaze there, and lots of small pushes coming out once we buffs for that coming out is huge. Another stun on this Blaze here. They're all Blaze here. Blaze and he returns stuns to Diablo, allowing Malfurion to root under him. Diablo getting extremely low. Sonya just being allowed to spin away on the minions. And Zeratul going in on this Kalphas, I'm sorry, does blow him up. Tassadar going in on this Rainer. Diablo going to follow up on that. And it looks like first Shrine Punisher will go over to the side of Nexus Cats.
Blue team has summoned a mortar Punisher.
And yeah, they traded 2 for 1 there, I believe. But Nexus Cats does come out with the Punisher, so they come out with the advantage. Punisher getting baited over the wall by the Rainer. They're not necessarily what you want. You want it to be baited by the tank, but in the end, you know, it works out. The Punisher does break this front wall here, and we'll go to town on this
Blue
court.
team's Punisher has been slain.
Cats opt to just leave it at that. Zool, of course, is going to come down and get all these wonderful XP globes, allowing him to keep his team in this in terms of XP. We can see Nexus Cats have quite a lead, but Zool is trying his best to keep Calculated Throw in this. Zool going on his siege camp here. And Calculated Throw taking their topside bruisers there. Of course, if these bruisers are allowed to push uncontested, that will result in a 4 loss from Nexus Cats, but I'm sure that won't be the case. Nexus Cats, in fact, taking their bruisers in response. Sonya going up to deal with that bruiser camp, of course. The Skelthos did look a little bit juicy there. We saw the Zeratul heading towards it. Luckily, Calculated Throw did manage to catch that. And the root will come off onto the Blaze, but he is a little bit close to the tower, so they opt not to go for that. The 4-1 split resuming on the side of Nexus Cats. They will go for the bot siege. Again, a little bit of a multi play, especially with Calculated Throw right there.
Is that the dog?
And they will end up taking that siege camp. They all walk away at first, not realizing that they were all going to be walking away from it. Calculated Throw do end up taking the siege camp. It does take this bottom tower here. Nexus Cats pushing onto this bottom fort here. They do take this front wall, it seems like. They take the gate and the bottom tower almost. With their siege camp still up as well. Looks like they're going to opt to leave it at that. 10's coming out from both teams here. We do have Archon coming out from the Tassadar. Apocalypse from the Diablo. Stay on, listen from the Deckard. Leap coming out from Sonya. Void Prison, of course, on the Zeratul. And that set of ultimates right there between the Apocalypse and the Void Prison could be pretty powerful if they're able to time that right. On the side of Calculated Throw, of course, we have the Hyperion. Poison Nova coming out from Zool. Blaze coming with Combustion. Pyroblast coming out from the Kelthos. And Twilight Dream, I believe it's called, coming out from Malfurion. That silence could prove pretty useful here, depending on how things go. Combustion, I think, is interesting, especially with the combo potential from Nexus Cats. You'd think that you want the bunker to be able to prevent it, but I suppose they're going for something a little bit different. They're going for something a little bit more offensive.
A shrine gathers power. You will take it for
I do think that is also an interesting position, especially to take when you're already behind. We can see that Nexus Cats have the 13 advantage if they're going to be able to reach 13 before Calculated Throw if nothing changes here. Deckard does get caught and hit by the tail there. The APOC whiffs, nothing coming out there. Twilight Dream does come down, and Combustion follows up on that. Hyperion coming out from the Rainer. Lots of damage coming out onto the Zeratul here. He's able to walk away. Tassadar in the Archon is getting absolutely bombarded here. Pyroblast does come onto Tassadar, and nothing, no death there. Will land a little bit of damage on the well there, funnily enough. Calculated Throw do begin on this shrine here. Diablo going in on this Blaze. The root coming out from Deckard, not landing on his target, but does land on the back line. And that will be a big sleep coming out from Deckard. Unfortunately, all targets will open up pretty quickly. Sonya and Zeratul just being able to go to town on this back line. Zeratul hitting that Void Prison. Kelthos and Rainer going down. Blaze getting pretty low here. He will be taken out by Zeratul and Zero going down as well. That is a 4-man cleanup from Nexus Cats. Rather well executed. And that will probably be a shrine taken in the favor of Nexus Cats. And as I said, they reached 13 first, and that, like I said, they just didn't have the capacity to fight that. The Sonya and Zeratul were really just able to get in the backline on that fight, and there was nothing to be done about it from the side of Calculated Throw. They really didn't have a way to get Sonya and Zeratul out of there. Now we do see this fort getting pretty low from Tassadar. This Punisher should be able to take this fort pretty quickly, and so in response to that, Nexus Cats are just going to go up to the mid lane and just siege it down, because now Calculated Throw had to choose, do they want to protect this mid lane or do they want to protect the bot lane fort? Bot lane fort, of course, they choose to give up, and it does go down pretty quickly here. Nexus Cats trying to get this well, secure an advantage, because we do know that the next fight will be, or the next objective rather, will be on this middle shrine here, because they went from top to bottom. And so, yeah, definitely trying to get this well here to secure that advantage. Looks like the siege camp will take that for them. And, yeah, well played by Nexus Cats, choosing to split rather than just push with the Punisher. We do see with the changes to the towers that came out with the recent craft, the new Nexus Anomaly, that strategy will be seen quite a bit more, at least from my experience. Tassadar just absolutely demolishing that wave. Yeah, Calculated Throw going down to deal with this Punisher, and Nexus Cats choosing to go up. Looks like they might choose to punish by taking this Bruiser camp here, potentially. And they do not. Instead, seems like they're going to... Oh no, they do begin the Bruiser camp. And they do have advantage on 16. If Calculated Throw were to take a fight, now's the time, right before Nexus Cats hits 16, while they're still in an even talent tier. Diablo being able to just zone out this Rainer. The APOC does come out, he's body blocking him against the wall. Quite unfortunate for that Rainer, gets rooted and killed. Deckard's asleep, pretty big there. Now Furion is able to hit the Twilight Dream and allow his team to escape, just trading a Rainer for nothing. Actually a Rainer and a Zul, it seems Zul going down here. In response, getting a Zeratul, it looks like, from the Fire Blast here. Zeratul does go down. Well played by Nexus Cats, honestly, with the Diablo sitting in this bush. Definitely pretty impactful, being able to pick up that Rainer pretty easily here. Alice, please. And yeah, that just puts Nexus Cats even further ahead. We can see they're 3 levels up right now, 2 levels up, I should say. And a full talent tier, especially 16, such an impactful talent tier. You know, we have things like Thermal Lance, the Domination being able to cast that Overpower twice. Scroll with Stern Curse just putting out so much damage. Nerf's Steel, of course, increasing the survivability on Sonya. Really big talents here for Nexus Cats. And we do see them, seems like they're going for this bottom siege camp. I believe they're the only ones who have taken this so far, because they've just had such a commanding lead throughout this game. Really well played by Nexus Cats. Sonya trying to take this top Bruiser camp here. And we do have Zeratul coming to potentially start this siege camp here. No, he chooses to just wait in the bush, make sure that they're not getting invaded. Pretty smart play there. We do see Calculated Throw attempting to close this gap. They've gone from 2 full levels down to just 1 level down now. Well, about to be 2 again. And Calculated Throw just trying to clear this bottom side here. Mark Zombie does try to get something a little bit cheeky off here. Not able to pull it. Not able to pull it off. Zul does check the push rather than just walking through. Blaze does charge in. Malfurion getting time stopped by the Void Prison. Although it doesn't, the APOC does come through. It does not land on anyone. Poison over pretty big there. Deckard's sleep coming out. This Rainer just continuing to be sleep that time. Diablo getting pretty low. Fire Blast coming out onto Deckard. And Deckard will survive. Sonya barely getting out with this Inheritance Steel saving her there. And we do have Diablo, Deckard, and Sonya all less than a quarter health. Very close fight there. They're all able to survive. 5 ultimates for 5 ultimates there. Neither team able to pick up a kill. We do have this Bruiser camp visiting for free on the top side. Looks like Zul will come up to clear that real quick. And those teams will be trading their siege camps. It seems Diablo getting caught out a little bit, but you know, such a tanky main tank is able to just walk away from that fight. And so Calculated Throw not actually able to pick up their siege camp here, but the siege camp will be on the side of Nexus Cats. Nexus Cats beginning the shrine immediately, saying they want that advantage. They feel like they have they feel like they've been winning team fights. They feel like they can continue to do so, and so they will begin just taking this shrine early. You see a 15-0 lead on the minions here in terms of the shrine. Diablo now getting in there. Blaze started to come up, gets stunned out of his charge there, And we do see the combustion come down. Nothing coming from that leap onto the backline here from Sonya. Sonya just able to do a ton of damage. Sleep doesn't come out from the Deckard. Force wall there. Does block out the Blaze's escape path. Twilight Dream interrupted by the Apocalypse there. Pretty huge. Sonya coming onto the Malfurion. Does get the kill onto the Blaze. Poison Nova coming out from the Zool. And that is a lost fight on the side of Calculated Throw. Their Blaze going down there. That is a 1-for-0 trade, and it looks like they're just going to try and get in on the Shrine. They want to stop this Punisher. They know this could be it for them with this fort being so low. And it looks like they're going to try to force it here. They will begin sieging down these minions with the Hyperion. Void Prison does come down from the side of Zeratul. Raynor does get extremely low here, pulls out the Adrenaline Rush and is able to get out successfully. Twilight Dream coming off of the Malfurion, and Diablo just having to walk away with that silence. Archon coming out from the Acidar. The Brute coming out from Deckard onto this Kael'thas, getting very low. And Zool getting caught here by the Diablo. Does get blown up by the Tassadar. Sonya getting pretty low, and it looks like she may end up dying here from the Living Bottle. Kael'thas. However, that is a 2-for-1 trade, possibly 2-for-2, depending on how this goes here. 2-for-2 trade on Nexus Cats. And they do, in addition, manage to pick up the Punisher, and that is pretty significant for them. This full health Punisher being going to be pushing onto the steep here. And they do have that 20 advantage if things go their way. They could potentially pick up 20s here, and there's not much that Calculated Throw can do about that. They will begin sieging this front wall here, trying to help out their Punisher as best as they can. Looking to potentially end the game here, depending on how things go. If they manage to get a team wipe, that could be it. This Punisher getting pretty low here. It looks like that will not be the end. Nexus Cat's just choosing to back out and potentially take some camps here, maybe.
Blue team's Punisher has fallen.
Yeah, Nexus Cats do take the Calculated Throw siege camp here. No surprise, they do have an advantage, and that will get them ever so closer to 20. Yeah, absolutely. Nexus Cats just taking a commanding hold of this game, really. No signs of stopping. They do seem to be trying to invade this Bruiser camp here. Nexus Cat's taking this Bruiser camp, they're getting level 20s now. That is pretty big. We got Ignored Pain coming down from Sonya, obviously increasing survivability quite a bit. Maybe I'm nuts, but this Perfect Gems is interesting by the Deckard, being that he only has Ruby. But I suppose if it works, it works. Try that Archon, of course, coming out from the Tassadar, Hellgate from Diablo, and Shadow Mending from Zeratul, allowing him to keep up quite a bit of sustain there. Hellgate, of course, being the talent of choice on 20 for Diablo, such a powerful talent, being able to blink in like that and then get all that, get the value from the Apocalypse proc under it as well. And now you see Nexus Cats just putting in some pressure on the spot lane here. Sonya taking this Nexus Cat siege camp as well. Ugh, I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired here. Okay, we do see Nexus Cats putting down some pressure onto this bot lane, trying to allow their siege camp in the mid lane to push here. Interestingly, their Bruiser camp up at the top lane is being left up, not taken. Potentially could be waiting for the Shrine to come up here, because, you know, if the Shrine comes up and the Bruiser camp is pushing, they have to choose between punishing the Bruiser camp, or resisting the Bruiser camp, or taking the Shrine. We do have 20 advantage still for Nexus Cats, 2 levels up. This is Zool looking like he's going to make a great escape here, barely manages to get out there. And yeah, Calculated Throw is pushing out this bot lane, making sure that nothing's coming of that. There's a middle siege camp here, still pushing inside of Nexus Cats. We do see the Bruiser camp being taken just like I had suggested about the Shrine. Zeratul going to wait until the Shrine gets much closer to being ready to take this Bruiser camp. So, like I said, Calculated Throw will have to decide between resisting the Bruiser camp or taking the Shrine. And we do see the bottom siege camp be taken as well. Not quite as impactful because, you know, the siege camp is in such close proximity to the shrine that it won't matter as much, but it still is definitely a point of note. Diablo just zoning out here for Nexus Cats, allowing them to just lay down on these minions in the shrine here. Blaze trying his best to get in there. Decker's root coming out here onto the Blaze. Hellgate used by Diablo to escape rather than to engage. He does get rooted by the duel anyway. Hyperion coming out for Raynor here. The Deckard sleep, I believe that was, getting the Twilight Dream coming out, as well as the combustion and poison getting most of the members of Nexus Cats pretty low. APOC does come out at the very last second there, leaping, taken by the Sonya. And that will result in a 2-for-2 trade there. 2-for-3 now. Sonya going to town as well as Zeratul. And that will be a 5-man wipe on the side of Calculated Throw. Diablo already back up thanks to this trait there, Wax Soulstone. And that is looking like a 1 game in terms of Nexus Cats. We have the top bruisers pushing here, as well as a Punisher and a 4-man pushing into an empty lane. This is not looking good for Calculated Throw. Most likely the end of the game here. And yeah, this fort just being keep rather getting slowly taken here, and that will allow their core to be pushed. Pretty much a full health Punisher. GG's coming out here on the side of Calculated Throw. That is most likely the end of the game. And game 3 goes over to Nexus Cats rather decisively. Look pretty in control of that game. Alright, and that is all for today, folks. Thank you for watching, and thank you for this opportunity to both teams here today. That is all. Thanks.